Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome to reading. Today I want to teach you that readers, they don't just plow through the book and read it without thinking. Instead, readers have to make a plan for how they're going to read. One of the ways you can plan about what you're going to read is by asking yourself, like as you're reading, how will I stop and jot down and write down about the main character? So how will I stop and jot? When will I stop and jot and write something down? What key details from the book will I collect? Readers do this to figure out what the main character learns along the way. Let's look at this example right here. In the book Verdi, as I was reading, I want you to look and see how I organized my notebook. This is my reading notebook. And as I'm reading, I will stop and I'm going to write down notes inside my reading notebook. So that way I can be thinking about the character and what's going on in the story and not just reading through it as fast as I can. Okay? So a question I could say is right here, how? I will use my reading journal to stop and jot as I am reading. I'm going to use this notebook just like you're going to use yours. When am I going to do this? I will set a goal to stop and jot every few pages. So I might read 2 pages and stop and write something down that I noticed or wondered. Maybe when a few important things happen in the story, I might stop and write something down that I don't want to forget. Okay, right here, I will use my reading journal to stop and jot important key details in the story. Watch this as I show you an example of what I mean.
Hey friends, in this video, I'm going to show you what to stop and jot as you read a story. When you read a story, it's important to stop and jot key details or major events in the story. That might be an example of the setting getting introduced, maybe meeting some of the main characters, or noticing what problems the main characters encounter. So today, as I read this page, I'm going to model what to stop and jot as you read. But one day, Verdi's skin began to peel, revealing a pale green stripe stretching along his whole body. "Cat!" he gasped. "How could this be? I'm the speediest snake in the jungle, and I'm still turning green." He raced down to the river, grabbing up a mouthful of rough leaves. As I'm reading to myself, I think, wow, this is an important event in this story. Something is happening to the character, and he is reacting. So I think I need to stop and jot this major event in my story. I've already stopped and jotted a few in my previous examples, so now I'm going to stop and jot what's happening in this part of the story. Verdi is freaking out because he is turning green. I'm going to even draw kind of like his mouth open like they did in the video. And he's screaming. He's encountering a problem in this part of the story, so that's why I'm stopping and jotting. Now in my jot, I don't have any color. I'm just kind of using my pencil to sketch. So what I might do is label that he's turning green. That shows me when I go back to look at my jots that I took during the story, I might remember that that's the part of the story where he started turning green and he's starting to have a problem. As I read on, I might stop and jot at more important events that happen in the story. If any more problems continue to happen, I would stop and jot that. Or if the character learns a lesson, that's something I might stop and jot as well. Thanks, friends. I hope now you know what to stop and jot as you read your stories.
All right, so that was an example of me stopping and jotting down in my notebook things about the character that I feel like were important along the way. Now I want you to recognize the way that I organized my notebook. Please make sure that you are being very careful in actually jotting down pictures and that you've organized your notebook nice and neatly so that way when you go back the next day and you look to see what you jotted down, what you wrote down, that you are organized and you see what's happening. So I have the date at the top. You could even write the title of the book. That would be a great idea so you know exactly which book this is that you're writing about. So now it is your turn to try, okay? I want you to go to your Epic library. Go to my eClass page, go to your Epic library, and choose a fictional book. A fictional book is what I want you to look for, okay? Fiction means it's not real, it's made up. And I want you to make a plan of how you're going to stop and jot, when I will stop and jot, and what am I going to stop and jot about, okay? So, I want you to go ahead and begin reading a book in Epic and stopping and jotting. I want you to stop and jot 2 or 3 examples as you're reading today. Okay? So if you notice that you're just simply reading the book and not paying attention, maybe you should go back and reread the book slowly and taking your time, and maybe every 2 pages or 3 pages you stop and jot about what happened in your book to your character. Okay? Then, when you have done that, you're going to go to your eClass page and plan what you are going to do for your reading must do. Now, boys and girls, you will be reading the whole time today, because in reading class, that's what we will be doing, practicing reading the whole time. So, reading ends at 9:20. We're going to come back at 9:15, and then we're going to discuss some of the things that you read about. So, stay in your breakout room and continue to read on your own until 9:15. If you finish one book, maybe you start another book and get another new page, depending on how long your book is. Okay? So, go ahead and get started. I'll see you back at 9:15.